The Zephyrian High Council had seen many species rise and fall across the galaxy, but none quite like the humans. When the distress beacon first reached their monitoring stations, it seemed like another routine rescue operation. A single human vessel, the Wanderer's Hope, had suffered catastrophic engine failure near the Keth Nebula, a region notorious for its gravitational anomalies and spatial storms. Council member Vexhai had argued against the rescue mission. "The cost-benefit analysis is clear," he had stated, his crystalline form pulsing with cold logic. One human life against the risk to our rescue fleet? Statistically insignificant. But Elder Morden, ancient even by Zephyrian standards, had overruled him. "Every sapient life has value," she had whispered, her voice like wind through crystal caverns. "We are the guardians of this sector. We do not abandon those in need." The rescue had been perilous. Captain Zirath had piloted his ship through 3 separate spatial storms, losing 2 crew members to the nebula's twisted physics. When they finally reached the human vessel, they found Dr. Sarah Chen barely alive in a failing life support pod, her ship's hull cracked open like an egg. She had been unconscious when they brought her aboard, her dark hair matted with blood, her breathing shallow. The medical bay had worked around the clock to save her, their biosynthetic chambers adapting to human physiology on the fly. When she finally awoke 3 cycles later, her first words weren't of gratitude. They were questions about her research data. "The botanical samples," she had whispered, gripping Zirath's arm with surprising strength. "Did you save them? They're the cure to the Terran plague. Millions will die without them." The captain had been moved by her selflessness even as he delivered the unfortunate news. Her cargo bay had been completely destroyed, the samples lost to the void. Sarah had wept then, not for her near-death experience, but for the lives she couldn't save. The Zephyrians had treated her with their characteristic efficiency and kindness. They provided her with quarters, medical care, and eventually passage to the nearest human colony. She had thanked them profusely, learning their language with remarkable speed and sharing stories of Earth's diverse cultures. For many crew members, she was their first meaningful contact with humanity. When they dropped her off at New Geneva Station, she had pressed a small device into Captain Zirath's hands. "My personal logs," she had explained. "Everything about human culture, our history, our hopes. You saved my life. This is how we remember kindness." The captain had expected that to be the end of it. In his 3 centuries of service, he had rescued dozens of species. Few ever made contact again. That's why the massive fleet that appeared on their sensors 6 months later came as such a shock. "Sir," Communications Officer Telnara announced, her bioluminescent patches flickering with confusion. "We're receiving a transmission on all frequencies." It's from the humans." The main screen shimmered to life, revealing a weathered human face that Zirath recognized immediately. Admiral Marcus Chen, Sarah's brother. Behind him, through the bridge's viewports, stretched an armada that defied belief. Hundreds of human vessels, from massive dreadnoughts to nimble fighters arranged in perfect formation. "Captain Zirath," the Admiral began, his voice carrying across the void with crystal clarity. "6 months ago, your people risked everything to save my sister. Today, we've come to return the favor." The Zephyrian captain felt his crystalline heart skip a resonance. "Admiral Chen, I don't understand." "We require no assistance." "Oh, but you do," Marcus interrupted, his expression grim. "We intercepted Keth Empire communications. They're planning to invade your home system. 3 invasion fleets launched yesterday. They'll reach Zephyria Prime in 48 hours. The bridge fell silent. The Keth Empire had been threatening Zephyrian space for decades, but their intelligence suggested any invasion was still years away. If the humans were correct, "How did you—" Zirath began. "Human intelligence networks are very, very good at finding things out." Sarah Chen's voice crackled over the comm as she stepped into view beside her brother. "When we learned what the Keth were planning, there was no debate. You saved one of us. We came back for all of you." Elder Morden's ancient voice whispered across the command channel, the statistical improbability of this outcome. "Humans don't deal in statistics when it comes to loyalty," Admiral Chen replied, apparently hearing her. "We deal in absolutes. You risk your lives for one human? We risk our entire fleet for your civilization." What followed was the Battle of the Keth Gates, a conflict that would be studied in military academies for centuries. The humans fought with a ferocity that bordered on madness, their ships diving into impossible odds to protect Zephyrian vessels. When the Starlight Chorus, flagship of the Zephyrian fleet, took critical damage, no fewer than 20 human fighters formed a protective screen around it, their pilots choosing certain death over retreat. The tide turned when Sarah Chen, aboard the human science vessel New Dawn, managed to destabilize the Keth command ship's quantum core using principles she'd learned from her lost botanical research. The enemy fleet, suddenly leaderless, scattered into hyperspace. In the aftermath, as rescue shuttles moved between the debris fields, Captain Zirath found himself face to face with Admiral Chen aboard the damaged Zephyrian flagship. "Your losses," the captain began, his voice heavy with grief. 37 vessels destroyed, over 8,000 casualties. "All for us." Marcus Chen clasped the captain's crystalline shoulder with gentle firmness. "Captain, you taught us something 6 months ago. You showed us that in this vast, cold universe, someone still believes every life matters. Today we showed you that humans never forget a kindness." He paused, looking out at the mixed fleet of human and Zephyrian vessels working together in the recovery effort. "Besides, we didn't just come back for one. We came back for all of them. That's what families do." Elder Morden, monitoring from Zephyria Prime, transmitted her final log entry that day. Addendum to Human Behavioral Analysis. Initial assessment was incomplete. Humans do not simply value individual lives. They form bonds that transcend species, distance, and time. Recommendation: full alliance status. These are beings worth calling friends. The rescue of one had become the salvation of billions. In the years that followed, the Human-Zephyrian Alliance would become the foundation of the Galactic Cooperation Council, proving that sometimes the most improbable outcomes arise from the simplest acts of compassion. As Sarah Chen later wrote in her memoirs, they saw one human in distress and chose kindness over calculation. "We saw an entire civilization in danger and chose loyalty over logic. That's the day two species learned that the mathematics of the heart always exceeds the statistics of survival."